You might remember Kyler scrubbed his social media accounts of the Cardinals back in February. That raised some questions. But fast forward to yesterday, and Murray quieted some of the noise around his future when he said, quote, "I want to win Super Bowls with the Cardinals. Arizona is home." So, Jeff, sounds like they're back on the same page, at least for right now, because, Keim, one of the things he said was a wish list for Kyler Murray. Now, that was in reference to the draft process. So, Jeff, what could Kyler possibly be asking for here?
Weapons, always. That's what every quarterback wants. And look, he actually has had input in the past that has resulted in Steve Keim pulling the trigger on a second-round pick who ended up being a wide receiver that Kyler Murray was comfortable with. So, of course, we don't know exactly who that would be, but I will say that I think it's pretty optimistic that Kyler and Keim are having these conversations about potential draft prospects. It makes me kind of take all of the bluster that we've heard the past several months and sort of the little bit of squabbling that we've heard and says, wait, if Kyler's talking to Keim about who he wants Keim to draft, I mean, that's a pretty good sign about the fact that Kyler wants to be with this team. So probably not that important, but still somewhat fascinating that Keim and Kyler are at least having some conversations the week before the draft.
And, Jeff, you think about wide receiver they could be looking at in the first round. Treylon Burks from Arkansas would be one. Certainly Christian Watson from North Dakota State. This receiver group could provide the NFL draft first round with 7 potentially. Vegas has it at 5.5. Caesars does right now. 6, 7, very, very probable. And you think about cornerback as well. Andrew Booth Jr. is the 4th corner behind Sauce Gardner, Derek Stingley Jr., and Trent McDuffie. Andrew Booth Jr. out of Clemson had an inconsistent year, but he's got a ton of talent, and he'll come up and hit you. So he's got those aggressive qualities and the talent to be a first-round pick, but certainly wide receiver, that big receiver like Treylon Burks who can play slot and wide, big target. Certainly has to keep that weight at a level where he's a receiver, not an H-back tight end, but I think that's about the vicinity where Treylon Burks, a wide receiver Arkansas, figures to come off the board.
You know what, Mel, guys, it's interesting to see exactly what that wish list could possibly be. I know we're thinking about the wide receiver position. Christian Kirk leaves and goes to Jacksonville in free agency, but you got to think A.J. Green signs back with them on a 1-year deal. You got DeAndre Hopkins, you got Isabella, you got more. So when you think about the receiving position, yes, you always want to add a receiver to the mix, but I think this all started about the contract some time ago, a couple months ago at the end of the regular season. He certainly wanted a new contract based on the money that other people were getting out there. So Kyler Murray, to me, he's going to get a long-term deal. Football doesn't start till September. He is missing no time. April to September is a long ways away. They could get something done in the summertime. I just wish for him he would have waited a little bit longer to start to kind of, I don't want to call him whiny, but complain about getting his money because, look, they signed the head coach to the extension. They signed the general manager to the extension. The next guy in line for big payday for Arizona is going to be the quarterback. Waiting is the best option for him because it looks bad on the surface. Given the fact that some things were coming out of the locker room from a negative standpoint, people are now looking at Kyler Murray and kind of scratching their head and saying, what message is he trying to send to the Arizona Cardinals? I know he put out that tweet saying, I want to go to the Super Bowl. I want to win the Super Bowl. Arizona is my home. But every time you respond to something being said about you, it makes people wonder. Now I'm wondering, do you really want to be in Arizona? Is it really all about the money, or is it about being in control because you see other star quarterbacks getting a little bit of control?
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.